All right, the quarterfinals are set, and what in the Sasha Bublik just happened? We got here in a pretty amazing fashion with Sasha Bublik creating probably the most iconic memory so far at the French Open. We're going to break that down, and we're going to predict every quarterfinal match, talk about how we got here, and break it all down because that's what we do on the slice, and there's a lot to get into. Draper's out, Bublik's in, and the slice is presented by Betway. Let's get into it. Well, if you got to watch the Jack Draper Sasha Bublik match, you were a lucky one today. I was watching most of it, and I got to see the fourth set where Bublik was trying to close it out, and Draper had 5 break points as Bublik was trying to serve out the match, and Draper's going to the crowd, getting them into it. He's hitting amazing shots. Bublik, you can tell he's just hanging on for dear life. And anyways, we'll talk about that in a second here, but the slice is presented by Betway. Shout out to them. Subscribe if you're new here, and check out Betway if you're into betting the responsible way and having a good time while taking it easy. We updated the odds on the podcast that we just recorded where the outright odds, Alcaraz is still number 1. Sinner's still behind him, but on the women's side, Swiatek has joined Sabalenka as the top outright odd winner. So check that out. Also check out Go Sport, the best tennis bags in the game. During the French Open, they've given you an opportunity to get 10% off their premium tennis bags. They look like they're custom built for you. Amazing materials, sleek black look. So if you want to look better on the court, now's the time. Click that link down below to check out the Go Sport collection. So yeah, we've got the big dogs are still here. Like we talked about, Djokovic is through, Cam Norrie, Alcaraz is through, Sinner absolutely chops Rublev. None of those guys getting through is particularly shocking, of course, but they have continued to roll in great form, all of them. So when we get to the prediction time of this video, it's going to be interesting, I think, especially when it comes down to Djokovic versus Zverev, because that's the big match, I think, in the quarterfinals here. Out of the 4 matches, to me, it's not necessarily the most tightly contested because I think Musetti Tiafoe will also be super tight, but I think it's the most consequential. It's the biggest matchup versus the 2 biggest names, and it's going to be hard to pick. But before we do that, let's see how we got here, because it's always about the journey. How do we get here? So Sinner, Bublik will play in the first quarterfinal, and we got here from Sinner beating Andre Rublev 6-1, 6-3, 6-4. As I said, I didn't want to be mean, but I said on the Betway feed that the question was more for if Andre was going to be able to win a set over Sinner more than if he could win. It really feels like they're just on 2 different levels right now, unfortunately, and yeah. And Sinner's just really pulled into a class of his own, and I just don't think Andre plays with enough shape to hurt Sinner on a court like this, where the ball can stay in front of him. So that was my thesis. Seemed to pan out. And then Bublik gets through Jack Draper. Crazy part of this match, if you look at the stats, is that how did Bublik beat Draper? Did Draper poop the bed? No, from what I saw and from what the stats show, he played a pretty good match, but Bublik was dominant offensively. Dominant. He won 81% of his first serves on clay is super big. For example, huge server Jack Draper only won 71% of his, which is that's lower than maybe he would like, but it's a clay court, so you would expect that. 81% first serves won for Sasha. That is like Wimbledon levels. That's freaky. So he was serving massive, and then you go to average first serve speed 200 kilometers, 124 for Sasha, 121 for Jack. Much bigger on the second serves as well, 106 average. Go to the winners, 68 winners to 39 unforced errors. and Jack he had a positive ratio, 37-25, but that's almost like, it's like not double, but closer to double than closer to even, which is a crazy amount of winners over 4 sets on a clay court like this. A lot of those drop shots, a lot of those were coming to the net and winning, hitting nice volleys. He won 83% of his points at the net. So yeah, Sasha Bublik plays a dominant offensive match, beats Jack Draper, and tells an incredible story afterwards where how he went to Vegas to kind of reset, had a bender in Vegas, came back to the Phoenix Challenger, did well there, I think made semis, and then got his legs back under him. But, I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it here. The nice thing to see about Sasha when he was trying to close out that match, you could tell he cared. He wasn't joking around. He wasn't messing around. He was like, I need 2 more points here. I got to close this out. And you could see he cared. And then afterward, when he won, getting the standing ovation, you got to love it. That's tennis. I think all these players, Kyrgios, Bublik, the guys who look like they don't care, they do care deep down. And they're all human. So that was awesome from Sasha. So now he's going to have to try and come and back it up against, a tougher opponent in Jannik Sinner. So that's crazy. Let's go back to the draw, though, here. And yeah, so for that one, Sinner versus Bublik, I'm going to predict Sinner to win. That's, to me, I don't think Bublik can pull lightning out of a bottle twice, and I don't think he needs to. A quarterfinal, his first ever quarterfinal at a major. That's a good result for him this week. I think Sinner will take the baton from here in likely 3 or 4 sets. But hey, if Bublik can blast from the baseline like he did against Jack, there's always a chance. Next up, Zverev, Djokovic. Djokovic wins over Cam Norrie 6-2, 6-3, 6-2. Another solid win for Djokovic. His fans have got to be feeling great about that. Zverev gets the walkout, or gets the retirement versus Griekspoor. So if we show their time on court so far in the tournament, Zverev's at 8 hours and 12 minutes. Djokovic is at 9 hours and 25 minutes. So not a huge difference, but Zverev does have the edge there. So when I'm trying to predict this, Djokovic versus Zverev, Zverev just got his first ever win over him at a major in Australia, but Djokovic obviously retired from that match. So does he have the confidence that he can beat a good Djokovic over 4 or 5 sets? I think he probably has the confidence. The reason I'm going to predict Djokovic to win this is if he's healthy and if he's playing with a big forehand, confident serve like he has been, I just feel like he has more ways to win on clay than Zverev does. Zverev's game, I think if they played back that Australian Open match and Djokovic was healthy, Zverev would have won it for sure. The serve is way more impactful on the hard court, and his style of play is going to get rewarded more on the hard court, I think, against Djokovic than on the clay. It's not because he can't play an amazing brand of tennis here. It's just Djokovic is going to have more looks in the return, and when they're in a rally, Djokovic is the more creative player, the more confident player coming forward, and probably has a better drop shot than Zverev. So I just feel like Djokovic is going to find ways to end points quicker. He's going to find ways to take control of points when they matter more. And yeah, his experience, just having done it, won this tournament 3 times, I think he has more experience, and that's why I would predict Djokovic to beat Zverev, which might be controversial. I'd love to see your thoughts down below, but that one feels like the better pick to me than Zverev to beat him. So I'm going with Djokovic to beat Zverev. Let me know what you think about that. So if we go to the bottom half of the draw now, we've got a great matchup. Lorenzo Musetti versus Tiafoe. Musetti beats Rune. I went with Musetti there, and I said I didn't feel great about it. It was a good match, 4 sets, but you felt like Musetti was lighter, had more sizzle. Rune was a bit stuck in the mud, but that's just where they're at. That's okay. Tiafoe beats Altmaier. I predicted Altmaier, so Tiafoe shuts me up. His time on court so far is amazing. 8 hours, 41 minutes, hasn't dropped a set, whereas Musetti's at 10 hours and 56 minutes. So I'm actually going to predict here a Francis Tiafoe victory over Lorenzo Musetti to come out of absolutely nowhere, make the semifinals of the French Open, beating Lorenzo Musetti, one of the guys who I was completely up on before this tournament, and I still am, really. But I just feel like Francis is energized, has less to lose here than Musetti. Musetti would feel like this is one of the better tournaments for him, and it is, and he could definitely win the match. But I just feel like the few hours more that Musetti's been on court, Francis is very strong, fit, wearing that nice Lululemon outfit. And yeah, this is a gut pick. Francis over Musetti. It feels like wrong to say. It feels like saying put the meat sauce and then the spaghetti on top of it. It just feels backwards, but I'm going to go with it. Francis Tiafoe over Lorenzo Musetti. Would love to be proven wrong. I love Musetti. I think he's the future. I think he's amazing. But yeah, I'm picking Tiafoe to win that match because he's had less time on court, and he can overpower Musetti actually a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see though, because Musetti, yeah, it's gonna be tough. Musetti's got the slice, he's got the backhand, but yeah, I'm leaning Tiafoe for sure. And then we got Tommy Paul versus Carlitos Alcaraz. Alcaraz beats Ben Shelton. That was the big match from the fourth round, really. That was a great match. That's great tennis. Alcaraz wins the first set in a tiebreak, loses the third set. You always feel like he's going to find a way because he does so often, and he beats Shelton. So now he plays Tommy Paul. And Paul versus Alcaraz head-to-head is currently 4-2 for Alcaraz. So Tommy Paul does know how to win, but hasn't done it at a major. And the last three matches have gone to Carlos Alcaraz. Two of them in 2024, Wimbledon, 4 sets, and the Paris Olympics. In 2023, Tommy beat him in Canada. Actually, he's beat him in Canada twice. So to me, it's just hard to see Tommy Paul winning this match without some serious help from Alcaraz in some key moments. To me, it would be like Tommy can win a set for sure, just outright play better than him. But I would feel that there needs to be a set where it goes to a tiebreaker or essentially a tiebreaker, and Tommy's just able to get one of those, and then there needs to be another set where Alcaraz kind of gives it to Tommy, like gives him a break, doesn't capitalize on something when he needs to, or just has a lull, because that's bound to happen. But it just feels like Alcaraz on this surface has too much sauce if he plays well, really, for anyone. But for Tommy Paul, just not a power. His power won't get rewarded on this court, and his ability to read the game and counterpunch won't get rewarded on this court as much as like any other court. So I really think it might be like Tommy's worst court to play Alcaraz on, but doesn't mean there's not a chance. But I would say it's a low chance because Alcaraz, this is like his home now, and this is the first time Tommy's made the quarterfinals here. So I think that's a good tournament for him. But so I'm predicting Alcaraz. So my picks on the men's side are Sinner, writing it down so I remember. Sinner, Zverev. Sorry, not Zverev, Djokovic. Tiafoe, and Alcaraz. What a semifinals that would be, wouldn't it? Okay. Let's look at the ladies after we get out of that. Quarterfinal draw here. We got Sabalenka versus Qinwen Zhang. I believe I picked those two right. Paolini loses to Svitolina. Did not see that coming, but I did see Swiatek beating Rybakina. So 3 for 4 there. Paolini out, the 4th seed out. Svitolina, big win. The magic, the Monfils Svitolina magic. They can always find it. Andreeva wins. Picked that one, and I did not pick Boisson, or maybe I did. No, but I don't know. I have to go back to my video, but Boisson wins the French woman in front of the French crowd, beats the American. That was incredible. I didn't really get to see that match, but I saw how it ended, and yeah, that's incredible stuff. The stuff of dreams. So now she's going to play Mira Andreeva, who I feel like will win because she's got that dog in her as well. She's got the game that's a bit more powerful and heavy for clay. Um, so I think Andreeva is winning there. And then we got Keys versus Coco Gauff, and Coco Gauff gave out a bagel. I think on the clay, I'm going to be leaning Coco Gauff as well. So Coco Gauff over Madison Keys, Andreeva over Boisson. I'm going to go Swiatek over Svitolina because I think Swiatek's finding her mojo, and Sabalenka over Zhang. So Sabalenka Swiatek would be a crazy semifinal. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. But yeah, those are my picks and my preview of the quarter final matchups at the French Open. This is, I heard Tim Henman say in some interview talking about there's too much irrelevant tennis. That's what he said. Mainly talking about the ATP Tour. Mainly talking about players like Casper Ruud, Alex de Minaur, all these people who lost, saying that the calendar is too long. And I don't think the calendar is necessarily too long. Probably a little bit, not that much. And B, I would say there's been a lot of irrelevant tennis at the French Open so far. Like a lot of these first round matches, the third round, there was no upsets on the men's side. So I feel like in some ways the tournament really starts now, because we all knew that the winner on the men's side was going to be one of Sinner, Zverev, Djokovic, Alcaraz. Those guys are all still in it. We'll see if any of them get upset in the quarterfinals. Well, Zverev or Djokovic will lose. But I really feel like the tournament starts now. So that's the theme of this video. The tournament starts now. We're in the business end of the tournament. So we'll see what happens. But that's my prediction and preview for the quarterfinals at the French Open. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you next time.